Hey guys, Matt here, and I'm glad to be back. It feels absolutely amazing to be back doing fragrance reviews. I just want to mainly apologise for being away for so long, guys. It is so good to see you all again. I hope you're all doing very, very well, and I would love to invite you to this very classic fragrance review. Now, the fragrance that I've got on review tonight comes from the French company of Coty. Now, the company of Coty are pretty unknown to me when it comes to a lot of their really classic perfumes. This is like the first main classic perfume from Coty that I've really started to get into. And before I go ahead and review this fragrance, I would just like to say a big thank you to the man who really turned me on to these sort of fragrances. And that person is the one and the only, the legend fragrance reviewer, Mr. Linnea Smith. Linnea, if you're watching this review, I just want you to know that I really appreciate all the support that you've given me all these years that I've been on YouTube. Well, mainly like 2 years. But just so you know, I'm really grateful. You've given me advice. You've really made me feel welcome into the community, and you are one of the main people to do that, along with all of you guys out there. So Linnea is an awesome guy, and guys, if you haven't already heard of Linnea Smith, go ahead and check out his YouTube channel. He is amazing. Now, Linnea has already reviewed this perfume, so I will leave his review just up there for you guys to check out. Now, the fragrance that we are going to talk about is a fragrance from Coty, like I said, that came out in 1927, and it's called Le Monde. Now, this is a scent that I've always wanted in my collection because it smells absolutely fantastic, and it just smells like history. You know, like whenever you smell it, it just takes you back to those roaring 1920s, you know, when it was all about glamour and lives were harder, let's be honest. You know, we had the Depression, we had the war, you know, so everyone was equal back then. And this was inspired by one of the most iconic perfumes in the world, Chanel No. 5. Now, Chanel No. 5 is an iconic perfume for those who don't know. I mean, it would be weird if you guys didn't know, because this fragrance is pretty much the most popular fragrance in the world, the most popular perfume for women, although I know quite a lot of men that wear this fragrance, and I'm one of them. I absolutely love this juice. And since I heard that Le Monde by Coty was actually similar to this through Linnea's review, it made me go out and get a bottle. But this isn't just any bottle that I have here. This is actually a vintage bottle that comes from 1992, I think, about 1991, 1992 edition. So this is what the box looks like. Let's go ahead and talk about the presentation. So the box looks like this. I paid like £17 for this on eBay, which is actually a pretty good price considering this is an inexpensive fragrance anyway. If you want to pay like, you know, for a brand new bottle of this, you're only going to be paying like less than £10 here in the UK. But this is a vintage version. We get this beautiful bottle design right here. We get these sort of like designs down here, which really do remind me of the 1920s, if I'm honest, that sort of glamorous look. We get Le Monde in red writing up there, and we get the cap, which looks like this, and we get the Coty logo right there on top. And the atomizer looks like this. Yes, it looks like a very cheap atomizer, but I don't know. I kind of like it for what it is. So yeah, guys, that is the bottle design. Now let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this fragrance. Now, because Chanel No. 5 is so expensive, Le Monde is actually a cheaper alternative. Although I think that this fragrance deserves a review because it is a little bit different. It's not exactly the same as No. 5. It does have its own differences. It does have its own, you know, pros and cons. So we will go through those in a second. But that is enough of Chanel No. 5. Because I've already done a review on that one, and you ain't getting any more attention. This fragrance is absolutely iconic, and I cannot wait to review it. So guys, let's check out my review and my thoughts for Le Monde by Coty. Let's talk about the smell. So let's go ahead and spray it. Okay, so as I'm getting that to die down on my skin, we are going to go through the top notes. Now the top notes for Le Monde by Coty, we get aldehydes, bergamot, neroli, and peach. Now, the opening for this fragrance opens up very floral. It's very strong, opens up quite potent as well, with this very sort of classic floral aldehyde, feminine smell. Definitely reminds me of Chanel No. 5. The opening isn't quite as strong as Chanel No. 5, although I do get the inspiration for Chanel No. 5 in this fragrance. Opens up a little bit powdery. It's also got these sort of like fruity, sort of esque sort of notes to them. Definitely a lot of that bergamot. There's definitely a lot of peach in this fragrance, which I think adds that difference, I think. But I think the opening in general of this fragrance actually smells more genuine. It actually smells more expensive than the perfume itself. Now, I'm sure that this fragrance is not made with the highest quality ingredients as, you know, Chanel No. 5, but the smell itself is absolutely spot on. Now, something that I find really quite true when it comes to this fragrance is something that Linnaeus said, and he said that this is more of a fun, sort of jazzy version of Chanel No. 5. And you know what? I have to 100% agree with Linnaeus Smith on this one. This one is a little bit more of a watered down version of Chanel No. 5. Although this one does last. I do get a lot of longevity out of this. But I don't know if that's because it's a different reformulation. I don't know if this is because this is a vintage version, or if it's because it's the smell in general. I don't know. But the smell, I mean, I have smelled the version today, and there's pretty much no difference, to be honest with you. I've noticed that the juice on this one is a little bit darker compared to the version of today, but yeah, it just opens up very nice. The aldehydes really make this fragrance, you know, rich and strong, which is to be expected from these older perfumes anyway. But there is a tiny bit of neroli as well, giving it a bit of a freshness, a bit of a sweet smell. So the overall smell isn't completely floral. It does have, you know, the peach and the neroli and the bergamot to give it that bit of a juicy, fruity smell to it. So it isn't completely, you know, old school, if you like. I think it's actually quite a timeless scent. I think if a woman wore this today and I smelt it on her, I would personally think, wow, that smells really, really good. So in terms of the smell itself, it doesn't smell dated, it doesn't smell out of fashion, it just smells like a very old and historic perfume that I think a lot of people out there just, you know, really need to look into. But the women who have worn this fragrance over the years, my nana was one of them, and I always used to smell this fragrance on my nana's skin when I was a kid. This is the one fragrance that really does remind me of her, and I can remember it smelling very grown up, very strong, just a very robust, very in-your-face, feminine powerhouse fragrance, honestly. But it just brings back a lot of memories for me, you know, from the time that my nana did wear it, and it's awesome. Now, in terms of the middle notes, we get geranium, rose, orchid, jasmine, and ylang ylang. So the floral, you know, bunch of florals start to fill in at this point after the first probably about 20 minutes, because smelling it now, it's still sweet, but it's definitely more powdery now. It's starting to turn into this sort of powdery, white floral smell, because I'm getting a lot of that jasmine right now. And the jasmine is pretty rich in this fragrance, considering this is a really inexpensive fragrance. The jasmine is nailed down to a T. Now, I don't know much about, you know, the creations of a lot of Coty's fragrances today, but I do know one thing. Because this is a vintage scent, and I'm really glad to have this one, they've nailed every single note down to perfection in this fragrance, you know, and it really does amaze me, because this is an older fragrance, but for what it does, guys, it's incredible. And I just love the floral takes on this fragrance. It's got that nice sort of geranium and that rose combo, and that orchid and jasmine. It's just literally like a bundle of flowers, a bundle of rich flowers that would be sold on a market in the middle of Paris in the 1920s. That's kind of the vibe I get, but I just get a very grown-up smell out of this. Yeah, just a very grown-up, very nice, floral, warm scent. It's just absolutely beautiful until this point. Now let's look at the base notes. We get vetiver, musk, vanilla, tonka bean, sandalwood, and cedarwood. Now this fragrance definitely changes after probably about the 5th hour, because when I bought this the other day, I wore it all day, I was testing it out, and the dry down for this fragrance is beautiful. It's like a rich combination of vetiver, which kind of gives the fragrance a bit of a masculine edge. Doesn't make the fragrance completely masculine, but it gives it a bit of a oomph, if you like. So if there is men out there who would want to smell masculine when wearing this, I suppose that vetiver would do that. Just gives it that touch of green, sort of rugged smell in the dry down. Perfect. The vanilla and the tonka bean combo is just to die for. It's creamy, it's a little bit powdery, it's sweet, but it's just delicious. And the other notes that I would say that I get mostly in the dry down are the woody notes. So we do get a lot of that sandalwood, we do get a lot of that cedarwood. It's just a nice, warm, sweet vanilla woody dry down. It's just absolutely sensational. Now, I will be doing probably a video in the near future of these two fragrances battling out to see which one wins. But if I had to, say which one I liked more, I would probably say Chanel No. 5, not because it's the main fragrance over this one, but because it is a much more high quality smell. It does last longer and it does have a better smell. However, this one I think is perfect if you love the smell of Chanel No. 5, but you just want to smell tame. You don't want to smell in your face. You just want it to smell very calm, tame, and sort of a relaxing sort of smell. This is definitely a softer version of Chanel No. 5. That's what I would say. It's definitely playful. I would say it was more intended for younger girls as opposed to women who would wear this. But to me, I think these are both fantastic perfumes which have a great history, and I think that the house of both Chanel and Coty are amazing in their own ways. Yeah, love them. And I just want to say a big thank you to Mr. Linnea Smith for inspiring me to review this fragrance from the house of Coty, and not to mention all of you guys for watching. So you guys are absolutely incredible, and in case you guys haven't seen my live stream, I just want to basically apologize for the fact that I've been away for pretty much almost 2 weeks now. The reason for that is because I've been making a lot of music. I've been hanging out with my friend Jordan. He's been staying at my house for a few nights. It's actually been really good. It's been very therapeutic for me, and the only thing I can really say is I'm glad to be back, to be honest, and I'm ready to be back, just to be doing what I love, which is reviewing fragrances. Thank you so much for watching my review for Coty's Le Monde. Very classic perfume. I would highly recommend you guys check this one out, especially if you're a frag head like myself and you just want to collect scents. This is a no-brainer, guys. Seriously, this is a great perfume that deserves the respect. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Keep smelling good, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye for now.